Hello everyone, I'm Emily Powers, and in this video I'm going to paint a beach with acrylic paint, and it's step by step so you can see exactly how I do it. And I already painted my 9x12 canvas with some unbleached titanium, and that's that color. I wasn't trying to be super careful, I just took a sponge and scrubbed it on. But all of the supplies that I'm using are listed in the description, and there's also some links to some of the supplies where you can buy them, and a percentage of your purchase helps support my channel. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. I don't think this should be a super long video, and hopefully it'll be an easier painting. So I'm going to take my spray bottle with water and spray my paint, and like I said, I already painted this and it's dry, so I'm gonna spray my canvas again, and I'm gonna take a 1-inch bright. It's a number 12 bright from, it's a Princeton Summit. It's the kind of brush it is, and I just kind of painted it this color just because it's kind of, most of the colors are pretty similar. There's not like super big differences in the different colors. So I'm just going to start with the sky, and I forgot I should mark out where I'm going to stop the sky. So it's actually about halfway. So maybe just slightly above, even if it is exactly halfway in the picture. I'm just going to make it a little bit more of the water and the sand, but almost half right there. And I'm not going to take my ruler or anything, but I do want it to be straight once I get it in. So I'm going to get my titanium white and some unbleached titanium, and that was the color that I used when I painted the background the first time. And then I'll get a little bit of phthalo green. I've got some different colors out here, but you really don't need a whole lot of color, I don't think, for this, because we're just going to use a tiny bit when we do use them. So I just want like a really light, just slightly green color. Alright, like that. Get a little bit more white. Alright, and I'll put that up at the top. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe. I post a new video every Friday. So if you want to see some more of my videos, you can hit Emily Powers Art right below the video, and it should take you to my channel where you can see some of my other videos. I'm just going back and forth across the top of the sky. Adding quite a bit of white. It's a very light color. And just go back and forth across that. And then once we get to the bottom, I'm going to not do as much green, and I'm going to do like maybe more of the unbleached titanium instead. And blend them together. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of do the bottom like that, and then just back and forth a little bit, and I'll do the water later. Alright, and while it's wet, I'll try to get some orange and some yellow. And I'll put some clouds, like some orangey clouds in there. and just let it blend in with my other colors. And I'll get I'll get some burnt umber and maybe a little bit of blue. And put a little bit of that in, some darker color, just slightly darker. I can just go back and forth and just kind of just put some little like cloud looking brush strokes in there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something like that. And then I'll take a little bit of maybe some brown and a little bit of orange and make like a slightly orangey color, and get a little bit of white by adding it to that color I already mixed. Put some at the bottom of some of these clouds, maybe a few over here. Some of that brown, and try to press my brush flat so I can get more of a flat edge. You can get some of my green too to kind of lighten the color a little bit. Some more of that yellow. And alright, so my paint's wanting to dry now, so I'll just stop there. And I think I'll probably just leave the sky like that. Just really simple, put in some clouds back and forth. So that's super easy. That part was definitely a beginner sky. And hopefully the rest will be too. I really hope that it won't take very long for this one. I hope that it'll be a pretty fast, easy one. So now I'm going to get my number 6 1/2" bright. So it's a 1/2" brush. It's number 6 Princeton Umbria. And if you don't have the exact same brushes or colors I'm using, you don't have to have the same ones, just something similar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I need some more white before I go any further. So I'm going to put more white out. And I'm going to get my white. And my blue. My Phthalo Blue. It doesn't take a whole lot of this blue to make it pretty dark, so. And then I'll also get some burnt umber, and that'll make it not such a bright blue. None of these colors are really super bright, so most of the time you're probably going to want to add like some brown to your color. Alright, and so that's a good dark color. So I'm going to put that on the horizon line. I'm just going to kind of start it maybe a little bit down further from where I think I might go, and just kind of do a line, and then I'll go back and try to make sure I get it nice and straight. So just press your brush flat so that it will get a straight edge. I'll get a little bit of water add a little bit of water so that it'll flow off my brush a little easier. Just try to get it as straight as you can. If it's not perfect, it's okay, but as straight as possible. So let me see. Still looks a little bit higher over here, so I'll just make it go a little bit higher. Alright, that's pretty good. So I'll take my blue and put some blue back here. Alright, and then I'm going to get more burnt umber. And maybe a little bit of green. And put that in the middle. It's kind of brown. Just a little bit of like a greenish color. And just go back and forth. And I can take my chalk and draw where I want it to stop. So if I take from the sea down to the bottom, I want the water to be a little bit past halfway. So maybe down here. And you don't, this line does not need to be straight because it's the beach. So it can be slightly curved a little bit. And I think this is going to be a really fun painting. I mean, I'm having fun already. This is really fun. All right. So back and forth. And then once I get up here, I'm going to get my whites. And I can have a little bit of that blue, and I'm going to get some green. And some of that unbleached titanium. So I'm going to mix something similar to what we did in the sky. And I'm going to get a little bit more of that burnt umber. And a little bit more green. Don't want it too green though, so I'm going to get some of this brown color. And add some white. Maybe a little bit more brown. Alright, and I'll get this color now and put it, I'll blend it in first with the color I already had. And if it's dry, it's okay, just kind of brush over it a little bit and we can blend it better the second time. Come almost all the way down. And then I'm going to get some more like unbleached titanium and burnt umber. And I'm going to put that down at the bottom. And there's going to be like some white where these, where the water meets the sand, but I'm not going to put that in until later. Alright, so now I'll rinse that off my brush. my water jar off to the side over here, and it doesn't have to be perfectly clean. I'm just rinsing it a little bit. And then I'll get some burnt umber and unbleached titanium. And actually, I think there's a color I didn't get out that I should. Let me see if the yellow will do it. Get some yellow. Yeah, that might work. So I'll get that yellow with the brown and the unbleached titanium. A little bit more brown. And I'll put that up against that other color there. You can kind of blend them just a little bit. You just don't want to like a really hard line that you'll have to cover later with the white. And then I'll get some more unbleached titanium. And when I come down, I'll just add that unbleached titanium color. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just not being super careful. And I can take some of the brown and just kind of brush in a little bit, just not very carefully, just kind of brushing in some of the dark so that it'll have some like dark patches in there. All right. And get a little bit more of that yellow. Do that brown. Okay, so there we go. Just made it a little bit more yellowy. I kind of blended it quite a bit. You can have a few spots that aren't blended very good and it should be fine, but there's really not like a whole lot of detail in the sand. So I'm actually going to get some white and just make it a little lighter in a few spots. All right, there you go. That's good. So now I'll rinse that out, and that's our first layer. So the sky, I'm going to call the sky good because I already had that unbleached titanium back there to begin with. If I didn't have that already painted on there, I would probably have to go over and do this all a second time. The exact same, I mean, I would probably not do the clouds until the second time. I would just do the green and the like lighter unbleached titanium, and then the second layer I did, then I would do the clouds. But because I had that unbleached titanium, that was kind of like my first layer, and I didn't have to do as much detail. So the paint that I'm using, I usually have to go over it at least twice at the beginning, but because I already had it painted, I can keep the sky just from that first layer I did. All right, so I'm gonna work on the water now. So I'm going to see. I'm going to make sure that it's straight. I feel like this side's a little bit higher than it should be. I'm going to get the Phthalo Blue and Burnt Umber. And just a little bit of white. And so it's a little darker than what we did last time. And I'm just going to bring this side up a little bit. Alright, that's better. And then I'll just put this across the top. Alright, and then I'll add some white in the middle here. I want it lighter, so I'm going to just add some white back and forth. Not a whole lot at first. Alright, and then I'll get this burnt umber and a little bit of the blue and green. This brush seems to hold a lot of paint. Just noticed that it holds a lot of paint at a time. So, alright, so I'm going to put this on the sides and blend it in. Alright, and then I'll get some white, and I can go back and forth and add some lighter color in there. And then I'll just get some Unbleached Titanium and add that, and a little bit of brown, and that'll be the color that's down below that. And there's still blue that's up on my brush, so it's like mixing and adding blue, but I don't really want that much blue, so I'm going to get more of the brown, the Unbleached Titanium, and the burnt umber, and blend those together. Get a little bit of green because I want it to have a little bit of a green. Alright, now I'll get that burnt umber and I will add a little bit of brown. Alright, and I'll get here. I'll pause the video, I'll get out more paint, and then I'll come back. Alright, so I got my paint out, and so my water is still kind of like drying now. I don't know, it might be dry already, but I'm just gonna leave it for a little bit longer. And I cleaned my brush out. I'm just gonna get some Unbleached Titanium, and it's all by itself, so I'll just go off to the side here and get it in my brush. And then I'm gonna lighten up the sand a little bit. I'm just gonna flick some of this in. And then before it dries, I'm going to take my rag here, just a dry rag, and I'm just going to do circular motions. I might even take the Unbleached Titanium off my palette and just scrub it in. Scoot a little bit and get a dry spot and blend it out. So this way it's not perfect. It's kind of got some texture in it. So you could do it with a brush and just go back and forth if you wanted to, but I thought this would be kind of fun just to do something a little different. All right. I'm afraid I might be wiping off some of my background there, so I'm just going to blend that back over. I'll get a little bit of burnt umber and some blue and some yellow. Mainly brown and yellow, not so much blue. And I'll just go back over and make it a little darker right up against the edge there. You can add a little bit of darker in these other areas that are lower, but not a lot. Just a little bit. All right. Go. All right, there we go. So that's good. Rinse that out, and now I'll get my white, and I don't really have any more room on my palette, so I'll spray my palette and take off this paint here. Just gotta give myself some more room. I can do this because it's glass, so I don't really need the whole thing, just a little bit more room there. Alright, so give myself a little bit more space, and then I'll get the white. And I can wipe some of it off on my rag off to the side. So I don't want tons of paint. And back here, I'll just do some white all the way across. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot of paint on here, but and I'll brush some of it back here too. I just want to add some lighter areas in the paint. I'll do some in the darker, but then I'll kind of use my finger to wipe it off. Do some down here too. Okay. Adding a little bit of water. I'm just going to let the canvas just pick up little bitty bits of white. I'm going to get some burnt umber and that yellow, so the color that was dark down here, and so I don't want it that dark. Do a little bit of green and a little bit of white. Brown. I just want a brown color to put a little bit like the sand is showing through. Then I'll get the green and the blue with some brown. And a little bit of white. And I'll put a little bit of darker back here. That blue and the brown. And some white. So I'll get the white and a little bit of brown, Unbleached Titanium, and I'll just go and blend in this brown that I put down. Alright, and I'll just get a little bit of white and put some back in here. Alright, and put a little bit more blue. And try to make this section in the middle a little bit more colorful. Okay, and I'll get some brown and blue and some green and put this on the edge, make it a little darker. Alright, I'll just wipe that off my brush and I'll get some more white. And I'll try making this back here lighter again. Alright, and now I'm going to rinse that off my brush. And I'm going to get some unbleached titanium and some whites, and maybe add a little bit of this green color and some brown. And I'll add a little bit of this over that dark sand, just slightly. Alright, and then wipe that off, and I'll get my white and I'll tap up and down so that I'll wiggle my brush back and forth, trying to make my bristles spread apart a little bit. And I'll tap. bit. I can go back and forth a little bit in a few areas. Go above where I just tapped right there and go back and forth and tap above that. And we're just adding some white. Okay, and above that I'm going to tap some. Alright, so you want a little bit of lighter color. There. Okay, and now I can do some lighter back here now that it's probably dry enough. Now I can add some lighter. I'll add a little bit of lighter in here. Okay, so it's almost done, I think. I'll get some of this blue. So far we've only had to use 2 brushes, so that makes it easier too. Some brown. Okay, and if at any point you like it and you just want to stop, well then just go ahead. You know, you can go as long as you want. You can keep messing with it. When I have stopped, you can stop before I stop, just whenever you like it. All right. Okay, I need to add a little bit lighter in here. I can tap some back here. There we go. And now I think I'll just do a few more things to make it a little better. Let me get my white, and I want to add, I want to make it a little brighter up here. I want the front to be bright, probably the brightest. All right, and all right, so I think that's pretty good. Just gonna do a few more spots. All right, so I think that that's pretty good. I don't really like the pattern that I got up here though, so I'll just get a little bit of that dark. And just go over it a little bit. Okay, that's good. So now I'll rinse my brush out. So we only used two brushes, a 1/2 inch bright and a 1 inch bright. So that was pretty simple. And then I'll take my Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen and sign it with that. I'll do it over here. Alright, so I like it. It's super easy, I think. As long as you, when we're doing like some of the water, just don't have too much paint on your brush at one time. But other than that, it's very easy, I think. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Like I said, I post a new video every Friday, and I'll just put up on the screen the schedule that I have for this month. So we just did the beach there, and then you can see there next week I'm gonna be doing the fish. So if you want to see any of those, I already did the two before the beach, so if you want to see those being done in acrylics on my channel, you can hit Emily Powers Art right below the video, and it will take you to my channel and you can look at some of my other videos. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please give it a like and subscribe if you did, and thanks for watching.